When it comes to farming in Hypixel Skyblock, there is really one stat that actually matters. It is not your speed, it is not your farming wisdom, it is not even the efficiency of the farm that you built. It is your farming fortune that matters. Without farming fortune, it doesn't matter how much farming wisdom you have or how much speed you have or how efficient your farm is, because if you're not making money from farming, then what are you doing, right? My name is Farmer Warden, and today I'm going to be talking about 12 ways that you can gain farming fortune. I'm going to go over 6 methods at first that are going to be basically free. If you just grind them out, you don't have to pay for any of them. And then we're going to get into the paid methods that are going to be pretty expensive, but at the same time, they're going to give you a crap ton of farming fortune. Before we get into it though, if this is your second or third time watching one of my videos, consider subscribing because you clearly enjoy the content. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, then make sure to stick until the end because I would love a chance to earn your subscription. Without further ado though, let's just go ahead and jump right into the video. Okay, so the first method that I'm going to talk about that you can gain farming fortune with is going to be your skill level. This is going to be the easiest way to gain farming fortune. Obviously, this is the way that everyone tells you to gain farming fortune with because it's actually free. A lot of people pretend like this is the only way that you don't have to spend any coins to get farming fortune, but this is not the only way, it's just the best way. If you take a look at farming 60, for example, it gives you 240 farming fortune. So if you get to the max farming level, you get 240 extra farming fortune on top of whatever you already have. Now, if you don't want to go all the way to farming 60 and get to like farming 50, you still get like 200 extra farming fortune. So it's not that bad even if you get to farming 50. The reason why I say this is because in order to get to farming 50, you need a total of 55 million farming XP. But in order to go from farming 50 to farming 60, you need a total of 56 million more farming XP on top of the 55 mil that you already had. So it actually costs more farming XP for you to go from farming 50 to 60 than it does for you to go from farming 0 to 50. That's why I would say that a lot of people might like to go up to farming 50 and then just stop there and not go for any other like gold medals or crazy extra amount of XP. Speaking of gold medals, that is also another thing that you need for farming 60. So you need a gold medal in every crop collection in order to get to farming 60. That's why it is so difficult to get that level, and that is another reason why people just go to farming 50 and leave it there. But we'll get into the Anita upgrades in a bit. For now, let's go over the second method, which is going to be the Elizabeth perk. So if you guys didn't know, if you go to help right here and then you go to Elizabeth, which is over here in the election room, and then you go to account and profile upgrades, there's actually an account upgrade at the end called Garden Farming Fortune. Now I have it completely maxed out, but you guys probably don't have this. This is a perk that's gonna allow you to get extra farming fortune while on the garden. And I don't know why you would be farming anything if you're outside of the garden to begin with. But anyway, this thing gives 4 farming fortune per tier and it has 10 tiers. The total amount of time that's needed for this to be completely maxed out is 146 days. So if you want to pay to win this, you could spend some gems on it and speed it up. But if you don't want to pay for it, it's going to take close to like 5 months. And that's considering that you get on the game as soon as the upgrade is done and then start the next one immediately right after. If you take a break for a few days and you don't upgrade it as soon as the other one is done, then it's going to take you more like 6 months like it did for me. So yes, it does take a long time, but this is also another way that you can gain 40 extra farming fortune and it is completely free. Now the third method that I'm going to talk about is going to be your Pest bestiary. So if you've unlocked the garden and if you farmed a little bit in it, you're probably familiar with pests, right? There are these mobs that just spawn in on your garden plots when you're farming or even when you're completely AFK, and you have to suck them in with a vacuum. So I have the infinite vacuum. Obviously it does the maximum amount of damage, so I just have to right click once and they will get sucked in. But for a lot of you guys, you might be having the first version of the vacuum, which is going to make you stay on those pests for a bit until it sucks them in completely. In general though, this is a very easy way for you to gain farming fortune. I believe you gain like 0.1 farming fortune per bestiary tier that you get on the garden. As you can see, I have all of them almost maxed out and I'm gaining like 5.6 farming fortune from each of them. So the maximum amount that you can gain is 6 farming fortune. As I said, you get 0.4 farming fortune per bestiary tier, and there are 11 of them over here, so you can get up to 66 farming fortune just from completing all of these milestones here. And again, this one is also completely free. You don't have to pay for it. Like, you can't even pay for it even if you wanted to. It's just a matter of you grinding the pests. Now the next method that I'm going to talk about is going to be your personal bests. So if you come over here to Anita, either in the garden or in the hub, you can go to Anita over here, and there's this thing called personal bests. So if you take a look here, you can get like 0.1 farming fortune per a certain amount of crops that you get on a certain contest. So for example, if you want, wheat fortune and you have like 340,000 crops farmed on your personal best, that means you get 34 extra wheat fortune from this perk, because every 1,000 crops on your personal best equals 0.1 farming fortune for that crop. Now, for wheat, mushroom, and pumpkin that are, a little more difficult to get, it's going to be 1,000. And then for other crops, it's going to be more. Like, for example, carrots is 3,000. Cactus is 2,000. Melon is the one that people get the most, so it's 5,000. Cocoa beans is 3,000. Each crop is just different based on the amount of crops that people get during a contest. So this is also another way that you can get farming fortune, but this is also crop specific. Speaking of crop specific ways to get farming fortune, there is also this thing called crop upgrades. So this is the next method I'm going to talk about. This is also completely free of charge because you don't actually spend any coins on it. You just have to spend copper on it. So if you go over here, if you go to the desk on your garden over here and you click on crop upgrades, you can see that you have options to upgrade each crop in terms of fortune, but I'll just put on all of the prices for all of the tiers right here. So for the cheapest one, you need 5 copper, and then for the most expensive one, which is tier 9, you need 4,000 copper. This is reasonable to get up to like tier 6, I believe, because that is the part that requires 500 copper, and that 500 copper is not that difficult to get. But anything more than that for only 5 fortune on the crop, I wouldn't say that's worth it for like, 1,000 copper, 2,000 copper or something like that. If you really want to max it out, then you could go for it, but otherwise just stick to tier 6. I'm probably gonna get it on melon because that is a crop that I'm struggling to get a gold medal in. So there we go. And yeah, it adds 1 Skyblock XP and 5 farming fortune for that crop per each tier. So you can get a maximum of 45 farming fortune for each crop if you max them out completely. All right, so all of the ways that I have talked about so far are going to be completely free of charge. So you guys don't have to actually like pay any money for any of these in order to get them. These next few items though, they're going to be gradually getting more expensive as we go. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first paid method I'm going to talk about is going to be Anita upgrades. Anita upgrades, I mean this perk right here, extra farming fortune. So as you can see, I have it at tier 4, I believe, because each tier gives you like 4 farming fortune. And if you get it to tier 7 is the final tier that requires 3 gold medals. And then after that, it starts requiring 4, 5 gold medals, 6 gold medals. And then at tier 10, it requires 10 gold medals and 1,000 Jacob's tickets, which I think that's not worth it. I think up to tier 7 is worth it. Like, it's understandable to spend 3 gold medals on it, but anything more than that is just completely unreasonable. And the reason why I say this is a paid version is because of the Jacob's tickets. Now if you save up all the Jacob's tickets and not pay for them, then this could also be a completely free method of you gaining farming fortune. Again, as I said, getting to tier 7 is not that difficult, but getting to tier 10, it requires like a total of 66 gold medals, I believe. So I wouldn't say it's worth going that far, but it is worth paying a little bit of attention to if you want extra farming fortune. Now the second paid way I'm going to go over is going to be your accessories. I think there's only like 2 accessories that give you farming fortune. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. It's the Fermento artifact and it is the atmospheric filter. The atmospheric filter only gives you farming fortune if it's springtime, and by springtime I mean in game, obviously. So you go to Skyblock menu and you go to the calendar. If it says spring, that's when it gives you 25 farming fortune. Otherwise, you get one of the other perks. But anyway, the Fermento artifact is the final version of the Crappie talisman, basically. So you have Crappie talisman, squash ring, and then it's the Fermento artifact. It is giving you like 30 farming fortune, and it costs you like 32 million coins. I know it's a bit expensive, so it might not be worth it. It might be more worth it to go for a Crappie talisman or like a squash ring, depending on your net worth. But eventually, you're going to get to the Fermento artifact. And yeah, those are the 2 accessories that are going to give you some extra farming fortune. Now the next paid method that I'm going to talk about is going to be your equipment. So your equipment, Lotus equipment, is obviously the end all be all of farming fortune because it gives you 5 farming fortune per piece added to the amount of farming fortune that you get from the bonus perk, which is called salesperson. Complete garden visitors offers to gain farming fortune. As you can see, I have 11 extra fortune from each piece because I've completed more than 1,000 visitors. So depending on how many visitors you've completed, this will give you some more farming fortune. And then also you can gain an extra 12 farming fortune if you put rooted reforge on it. Rooted reforge requires this item called burrowing spores, which drops when you're farming mushrooms. If you want to buy it though, it's only like 1.5 million coins on Bazaar, so it's not too expensive. And then there's also this enchant called green thumb enchant. Now the only reason why I have it on one of the equipment pieces and not the other ones is because it's extremely expensive. I bought this using copper only. I did not use any money on this. So that's why I decided to get it and just see what difference it makes. And as you can see, it says grants 0.25 farming fortune per unique visitor served. That's why I'm getting like 36.75 farming fortune on my necklace, and I'm getting 17 on all the other pieces, is because of the green thumb enchant. Again, this is a very expensive enchant. I wouldn't recommend going for it unless you have everything else on farming fortune completely maxed out. So, but getting a recombobulator, getting a rooted reforge, and going for, you know, 1,000 visitors or something is going to be worth it for this equipment because it's going to give you a very good amount of farming fortune. Now the next method that I'm going to go over, and this is a very popular one, is going to be pets. So pets, there are only like 2 of them that are well known for giving you farming fortune, and that's going to be the mushroom cow and the elephant pet. Now for pet items, you also have yellow bandana and green bandana. These two, yellow bandana only gives you 30 farming fortune, but the green bandana gives you 4 farming fortune per garden level. So if you're garden level 8 or higher, you need to use a green bandana because that'll actually give you more farming fortune than a yellow bandana. If you're garden level 7 or below, that's when you need to use the yellow bandana because, you know, 30 farming fortune is more than 28, which is what you would get at garden level 7 if you have green bandana. But anyways, I think that the debate is pretty much over unless you have like crazy good strength. Because as you can see, there's a farming strength perk on the mushroom cow that says gain plus 0.7 farming fortune per every 22.6 strength. Now I'm guessing that once you get this to 100, it'll be like 0.8 farming fortune per every 20 strength or something like that. If you have like a strength build that you can go with, then but definitely you can use the mushroom cow pet and farm mushrooms, and that'll give you like a lot of money. Otherwise, the elephant pet is going to be the best pet. At garden level 15 and pet level 100, this will give you 210 extra farming fortune. Again, I would recommend the elephant, but you could go with a mushroom cow. The cheaper options are going to be the bee pet and the pig pet. Those also give farming fortune, but I wouldn't recommend going for them because the bee pet is maybe the only thing that you should go for, and that's for very early game players because it's only like 2 million coins. Otherwise, again, mushroom cow and the elephant are the 2 options that you have. But anyways, now we're gonna get into some of the more interesting parts of farming fortune. The next method that you can get farming fortune is by using armor. So armor progression in farming is just like very straightforward. You start out with rabbit armor or farm suit armor, and then you upgrade to melon armor, and then from melon you just go all the way to fermento, right? Once you get to fermento though, there are multiple upgrades that you can do on the armor to get even more fortune. So on fermento, if you have full fermento, you get an extra 75 farming fortune just from the tiered bonus. If you have 3/4 fermento like I do here, you get like 50 extra farming fortune from the tiered bonus, which is still pretty good. If you recombobulate it, obviously you get even more farming fortune. I believe that you get more farming fortune in general from chest plate and leggings than you do from helmet and boots. And then the reforge that you can get for this is going to be mossy. Now mossy reforge is very expensive. It is like 40 something million coins on the bazaar. The reforged stone is called overgrown grass, and it's like rarely dropped from your visitors. So I would recommend getting this if you really want to go for farming as your main money making method, because it is a very good reforge and it adds like 30 farming fortune per piece if you are applying it to a mythic armor. Of course, if it's not recombobulated, it's going to give you 25 per piece, which is still pretty good, but it's not as much as the mythic one. There's also gemstone slots that you can go for. As you can see here, I upgraded my mossy fermento helmet with 2 perfect peridot gemstones and got myself 20 extra farming fortune. And all of the other pieces have flawless in them, and that's just because I couldn't afford perfects for this. But anyways, if you get flawless, you get like 16 farming fortune for mythic and 12 farming fortune for legendary. And then if you put perfects, of course you get like 20 on the mythic one. I'm not sure on the legendary legendary, I think you might get like 16 on that one. But anyway, the rancher's boots are a very good alternative to fermento boots because they give you 1 extra farming fortune per farming skill level. So if you're a very high farming level, you can use rancher's boots and you can get a crap ton of fortune from the boots in general. I get like 94 farming fortune from boots alone, which is more than I get from any other piece of my fermento armor. So it actually does add a really good amount of farming fortune. But anyways, last method but not least is going to be crop specific type of fortune. Now this includes tools as well. So any crop that you are farming, if you have its tool, you will get more fortune for that crop no matter what it is that you're farming. For example, if you take a look here at my sugarcane hoe, I get like 171 extra farming fortune just for sugarcane alone, and then I also get 129 farming fortune from the tool itself. So in total I get like 300 farming fortune from this, and that's not even with cultivating 10 or dedication 4 or even like legendary gemstones. So you could gain a crap ton of farming fortune for the specific crop that you're farming if you have the tool for it. So for potato, netherwort, carrot, wheat, and sugarcane, there are mathematical hoe blueprints that you can get from Anita. So if you take a look here in the Anita shop, yeah, so it requires 1 gold medal and like 32 Jacob's tickets to get mathematical hoe blueprint. Now depending on which one of these hoes you turn it into, that's the type of crop that is going to give you fortune for. Now for crops like cactus, melon, pumpkin, mushroom, you have like specific type of tools that you can get, and those also require 1 gold medal and 32 Jacob's tickets. Now obviously there are enchantments that you can get on here that'll increase your farming fortune as well. There's harvesting that you can get, there is dedication that you can get, there is the turbo enchants that you can get for each crop, there's cultivating that you can get, which is a stacking enchant. Like there are a ton of upgrades on these farming tools as well. But yeah, that is also another method for you to gain a crap ton of farming fortune. Now this last method that I'm going to go over, I didn't actually mention it in my original video that I recorded, but here we are now. So I'm going to go over garden plots. This is another way that you can gain some farming fortune. This is going to give you a maximum amount of 72 farming fortune, and there are 24 garden plots in total. So that means that each garden plot gives you like 3 farming fortune, and this is universal farming fortune, by the way. It's not crop specific at all. So this is also another way that you can get yourself a decent amount of farming fortune. Again, 72 farming fortune is the max. I would recommend going to like 15 or 16 garden plots. You only need 10 in order to build a super farm, which is an infinite farm of every single crop in the game. So you could just get that and be done with it until you get more money, and then you can spend a little more on it. In general though, I would recommend anything more than 15 or 16 plots, because after that the prices start to become a little more ridiculous. Compost bundles are sitting at 2.3 to 2.4 million coins each, and getting 3 compost bundles for like 3 farming fortune is just not worth it in my opinion. And especially for the corner ones, like this one requires 12 compost bundles, which is going to be somewhere closer to like 25 million coins, probably even more than that. So as I said, it's not really worth it to go for after 15 or 16 garden plots, but up until then it is fine if you want to get some extra farming fortune for you, especially considering that it's universal fortune and not crop specific. Now I want to go over the bonus methods that you can get farming fortune. So if you take a look here at the chocolate factory and you go to the shop, there is also a chocolate fortune bonus here. If you upgrade it to its maximum tier, you can get up to 25 cocoa beans fortune from this perk alone. That's not the only way you can get cocoa beans fortune though, as there are exportable crops that you can give to Caroline, which is this NPC in the Crimson Isles. You can get up to 12 fortune per each crop, so you can use exportable carrots for carrot fortune, expired pumpkin for pumpkin fortune, fine flour for wheat fortune, supreme chocolate bar for cocoa beans fortune, and you need to give her like 3,000 of each of these to get 12 fortune for that crop. But that's also another way that you can get farming fortune. Temporary ways to get farming fortune as well are, you can come over here to Philip and you take a look here. There's an option to empty your vacuum bag, and if you have enough pests, you can actually gain like 200 farming fortune for 30 minutes. So this is good for contests. If you're missing a gold medal on a contest and it's difficult for you to get, you could probably come here and talk to this guy. Now there's another way that you can get farming fortune, and that is by visiting one of the people that have all of the century cakes. For example, I like to visit this guy named Portal Hub. So This is the person that everyone visited when Bingo first came out, because there wasn't a way for them to teleport to different islands. But as you can see here, he has all of the century cakes, and the brown one is the one that you want to collect. So this one, if you right click on it, as you can see, you gain 5 farming fortune for 48 hours. This is also temporary, but it is like an extra boost that you can get. So that's also another way to gain farming fortune. But yeah, that is 12 ways that you can gain farming fortune. If there is something that I missed, make sure to leave it in the comments down below. Make sure to subscribe, make sure to like the video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.